Fantasy Football Universe, welcome back to another episode of the Devy Planet. And as you know, I'm here with my guy Spencer. We're here breaking down conference by conference. And this week, we're going into the ACC right after the intro.
Welcome to the Devy Planet. The Devy Planet. The Devy Planet.
Gotta stop it before the break goes in there. Everyone starts going crazy and everything like that, right? Spencer, my guy, how's it going, brother?
Dude, it's going great, man.
Awesome.
We got a nice week going. Talking ACC football. Who doesn't love that?
Awesome. Hey, plans for Memorial Weekend going on?
Oh, we got a few. We got a little. Got some family events.
Nice.
It's a little cold up here in Connecticut, so trying to find some warmth. How about you?
There you go. I got some barbecues going on. Actually going to see Lilo and Stitch, so I'm excited to see that. Good live action coming in. Hopefully some good comedy, good laughs going on, and then some barbecue with some family. So excited for all of that as well. Yeah. I hope everyone tuning in is watching or is enjoying their Memorial Weekend, having some good time away. Enjoy that 3-day weekend, maybe a 4-day for some of y'all as well. Go ahead and enjoy that. But as you're tuning in, we are breaking it down conference by conference. And if you have been tuning in, if you haven't, you can still go back and check it. But the first week, we went to the SEC, talked about all the dogs there and how the SEC, we can really do like a top 30 if we wanted to, just pro potential there. Then we went on to the Big 10, and we really talked about the quarterback room because every quarterback we talked about was a 5-star prospect. Like, does the Big 10 have the best quarterback class? Who's to say? Maybe. But now we're going into the ACC. Now, as we're going, as you know, this SEC, Big 10, ACC, in my opinion, I want to say we're getting less talented. That's not the right term I want to use. But the Devy prospects are becoming less and less desirable, I guess. Like, you can drop them a little bit compared to other prospects in other conferences. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, we see a pretty stark drop off. It's the quality of football is pretty good in the ACC, but in terms of how many hit the NFL and how many leave our college rosters and go on to not be, a head, coach over at another college program rather than hit the NFL or hit the CFL, it's a much higher percentage in the ACC. So
for sure,
there's definitely top end talent, but it falls off quicker.
For sure. Jamie, always a pleasure having you on, man. Thanks for joining in and tuning in for this show here for us. And before we get into our breakdowns, again, we're doing our top 10. So there's more than top 10 because we have different rankings, right? But we're doing our personal top 10 overall for the ACC. So we're going to bring on some names to look out for and why we enjoy them. If you are a fan of the show, don't forget to subscribe to the Fantasy Football Universe. We have guys like Dynasty Dogs dropping some content. We have Adjusted Ranks having some guests on shows doing mock drafts for y'all. We have shows on Fantasy Football Universe that will feed what you're looking for. And then also go follow the Adjusted Ranks YouTube. Go subscribe to the Devy Planet YouTube. That's just a shorter version of what we do here. So go ahead and subscribe to those. Drop the comments. We love interacting with y'all. And don't forget to follow my guy Spencer at Buck Wild Sports and myself at the PPR Show on X. Ask his comments is there. And we'll get into, just engaging with y'all. We enjoy that as well. I have a few comments here. Sucks to keep missing your Tuesday live shows because my show starts Wednesday live. Hey man, we appreciate you tuning in with the times you do. So I mean, if you're here, tune in, and we'll check your shows out afterwards as well. And then also, don't forget to drop that link, Jamie. We'll tell people to tune in to yours as well once you're done with here. But let's get into our first ranks, or not really our first ranks, but some of the guys that made our list. Right, we're gonna start with the quarterbacks here, and first is going to be Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik. Now he's 6'2", about 210. Good stock size. Draft eligible 2026, so this upcoming year. Was a 5-star prospect. In 2024, 14 games played, 14 started, 62.6% completion, 3,642 yards, 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 9.4 ADOT, and 25 sacks. Spencer, what do you like about Cade Klubnik?
Dude, Cade Klubnik he's a very kind of prototypical quarterback that you like to see. He's got good enough mobility to kind of move around. He's got a good arm. He's pretty accurate. And he really stepped up this last year. He had a very disappointing 2023, 2024. People were like, maybe he's not all that. And then really last year, especially after week 2, he really was a different quarterback.
Right.
If I was a betting man after 23, I would have said he's nobody. He's potentially QB1 going into next year.
Yeah.
So it's a good. Hopefully, he keeps that momentum up. I really like the kid though.
For sure. Fantasy Six Pack for those worried about JB's too. By the way, go check his shows out when you can as well. But yeah, no, everything you said about Cade Klubnik, what I love about him, why he's rising. In my hot takes, I have a show with the Profiler Plus for the Dynasty DJs as well, where we talk Devy. And one of my hot takes was he's going to throw for like 50 touchdowns this year. And he's possibly going to win the Heisman. He's going to take Clemson to an ACC type of championship, potentially a national championship. And as much as I want to say it's really the player, it's really the team they built around him. Because if you've been following Cade Klubnik since he was a 5-star prospect out of high school, you've seen the lows. You've seen him be a struggle. And as you mentioned, a betting man in 2023 said this guy's going to, now that he might be undrafted. I mean, maybe not a 5-star, but he's going to go day 3, just the way he was looking.
Yeah.
Now, he's possibly the QB1 of the 2026 class. And to me, that says more about the character and the adversity that he overcomes, because even though it was a struggle for him with the weapons he had, Clemson stuck to it, stuck with him as the quarterback. And you don't see this a lot in the pros or the college atmosphere where they're like, you're our guy. A lot of times they say, hey, dude, you're struggling. I'll take you out. I'm bringing this guy in. They have stuck with Cade Klubnik this whole time. And I believe why is because he's learning from his mistakes. Granted, he still makes them, but time and time again, he's continuing to progress rather than not learn and not develop. He is developing as a better quarterback year after year and actually showing, look, I have what it takes. I mean, 36 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, that's fantastic. 6-to-1 ratio, I love that, right? So 3,642 yards. Again, a testament to his wide receivers, and we're going to talk about the ACC wide receivers here in a bit, but he has weapons around him. But when it's all said and done, doesn't matter what the weapons is. He's the one getting the ball out. He's the one gaining more confidence in the pocket. Understand, hey, I could trust my line, and if the guys get around the edges or try to get me, I'm going to still make my impact as a player and still deliver on my throws as well. I absolutely love what I'm seeing Cade Klubnik, and I think he's going to be someone that we're going to be talking heavily about come draft time next year as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't really go wrong with him. He's got to keep it up, but he has all the scenarios perfect for him to be kind of the next QB1. I think he's got first rounder written all over him.
And to be honest, I would say, like Nussmeier to New Orleans. I mean, if Tyler Shuck doesn't do what they need him to do, if Spencer Rattler doesn't come in and do stuff, it wouldn't surprise me if New Orleans drafts Cade Klubnik, and I would absolutely love that with Olave and whoever else they have that time for their wide receiver too. I mean, it could be someone else or anything. So, but I would absolutely love that, and I think he could be potential top 10, potential 101 if he ends up winning the national championship and a Heisman. I mean, we have seen some great quarterbacks. I'm gonna say this while watching because hate him or love him, when he was out of Clemson, he was a great quarterback. First couple of years before everything happened, great quarterback. Trevor Lawrence had some things, but again, great quarterback coming out of Clemson, 101 overall, right? So it could be in the realm of possibilities where Cade Klubnik is the 101 overall because he has that capability of doing greatness there as well. So this next quarterback here, let's see. Matt, thanks for joining in, brother. Not a believer in the Saints taking strategy. Suck for show.
Suck for shuck.
Yeah, suck for suck. I mean, that could be it. I hope that's what they're doing if they go with Suck, because I think Rattler should be the starting quarterback personally, but that's a whole different discussion. But I think Rattler should be it. But everyone's on Tyler Suck. That's why if you have Rattler, go get him off your waivers, go get him in the drafts, go trade for him low, because people believe Shuck is him. I think Rattler will end up being the guy there. But that's just me. Our next quarterback here, this is the quarterback I think I'm higher on than consensus, but this is going to be Pittsburgh quarterback Eli Holstein. So he's about 6'4", 225, so absolutely love that size. He would have been eligible in 2026, but he actually redshirted the freshman year at Alabama, transferred to Pittsburgh last year, so that was his freshman year. So he's eligible in 2027, 3-star in 247, 10 games played, 10 games started, 61.7 completion, 2,226 yards, 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 9.5 ADOT, and 21 sacks. Now, I talked to him briefly as a breakout candidate on my DJ show on Monday as well. And I was thinking, I didn't have it on the show there. And I was thinking about who would I comp him to? If I'm thinking about comps to Eli Holstein, who's a good comp for him? And then came to mind to me was Ben Roethlisberger. The way he moves, he has physical toughness like Roethlisberger has. He has the arm strength like Roethlisberger has. He arguably could have one of the stronger arms when that time comes for his class. And he isn't mobile. Like, I don't consider him a dual threat quarterback. I don't think people consider Ben Roethlisberger a dual threat quarterback, maybe early on in his career, but he still knew how to evade that pressure, get out and escape and get some yards and move the chains. So I absolutely love Eli Holstein. I think this is going to be a great season for him, a breakout season where he gets over 3,000 yards, potentially more. But I'm super excited for him, and you can get him on the low because, again, as I said, I'm highest on him compared to consensus. So I feel you can grab a lot from it. What are your thoughts on Eli Holstein?
Yeah, I love this kid too. I mean, we're right in lockstep on this one. I think he's surprisingly mobile. You see 6'4", 225. You're not thinking of a mover, but he gets up and moving sometimes. He can rack up 20-yard chunk plays. It's not his game, but he can definitely do it. I think he needs to work on consistency. Pitt hasn't really given him the tools he needs to necessarily succeed at the level that you'd like to see, but I mean, he was really, really good to start last year. I mean, really good. And then he got hurt. And when he came back, it was kind of a tale of two seasons. So kind of hope, I think the injury may have lingered a little bit. And then he was kind of out the rest of the year. So you're kind of hoping this year, it was his first year as a starter, transferring over from Alabama. This year, he's established in the program. He's hopefully healthy and can stay healthy. I think we could see a huge step forward from him, but he has all the raw tools you want to see. At worst, I think this is a second-round, third-round quarterback. Even if he doesn't take a step forward, I think the tools are tantalizing enough that somebody will take a shot on him.
And honestly, I know I personally, I wouldn't say we, but I personally said, next year is the quarterback class. 2027 class is shaping up to be a strong quarterback class as well, assuming that everyone ends up coming out that year that is eligible for that year. So there's a lot of good things to say. As you said, the injury, I think they did force him in a little bit too early, but I think he understood he was the leader of the offense. And this year, again, same thing with Klubnik. We saw some struggles early on. This is opportunity for Eli to come in and say, all right, I'm the guy. This is me going through that adversity and saying, hey, I've dealt with this injury. I went through my recovery. I'm here to, take names, and kick butt, right, in a sense, to just go out there and dominate. So his receiving weapons aren't as great as what Klubnik is. He does have a nice running back in Desmond Reed. There are some, positions they still need, but I think he could be the guy that actually changes that team. A lot of people think Pittsburgh quarterback, and they're thinking Kenny Pickett. He's better than Kenny Pickett. Hands down, I drafted him over Kenny Pickett. When he was in high school, I was taking him over Kenny Pickett. So, I think he's the better quarterback all around, and he could do some great things there. Our last quarterback here in the ACC, though, is actually going to be NC State's quarterback, CJ Bailey. Now, he's 6'6", 190, draft eligible 2027, 3-star composite ranking 247. In 2024, 11 games played, 9 starts, 64.9% completion, 2,413 yards, 17 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 8.7 ADOT, and 23 sacks. Talk to me about CJ Bailey.
Yeah, this is a guy that I'm really, really high on. I want to see him put on more muscle. Let's start there. 190, that's slim. But CJ Bailey came in true freshman last year, coming into an NC State team that had high hopes and was falling flat early in the year. There was no direction. Concepcion wasn't playing that well. The offense was sputtering. And Bailey came into that situation and played really well for a kid who was a true freshman in a tough spot.
Right.
You see the ADOT, it's 8.7. It's not exactly what you want. He was definitely dink and dunk. I want to see him stretch it out a little bit more, but he started to towards the end of last year. You could see every single game he got more and more comfortable. True freshmen aren't supposed to do this. These are some of the better numbers you'll see from a true freshman. So he needs to stack up some weight. He needs to get a little more confident throwing the ball downfields. But just on a production alone, CJ Bailey needs to be on your radar. I don't think he's talked about that much because NC State quarterback, pull, not the strongest arm, not the most athletic, but I think that there's football IQ here that he can elevate the tools that he has.
JB has a comment, 6'6", 190, beanpole, going to get snapped in half. And that goes to, Spencer's point of add us the weight, right? Because when it comes to the height and weight between quarterbacks or any player, really, you really got to adjust that, right? So 6'6" has the size. We're not worried about what he does behind the line because he can see over his line and things like that. The 190 is where it comes in because you have a lot of defenders that may cut him at the legs, right? So with him being so tall, it's easier for him to get that injury or that tackle and go the wrong way because he is a little bit underframed as far as size wise. So yeah, add a couple, maybe gets like 210, add some 20s, in there. Do some great things with that as well. I think there's a lot of opportunity for him to grow. We're going to talk about one of his wide receivers later. Kevin Consumpcion transferred out. He's at A&M now. We did talk about him in our last show. Tom Harvey's big on him too. Whip for an arm. Yeah, he knows how to go there and throw it, right? Make some great things there. So you absolutely love seeing things like that. He is mobile as well, right? He can move out and escape as well. So this will be the year where it's fully him, right? And this is going to be the year where it's, again, taking the reins and saying, I'm in control. I am the leader here. So I'm excited to see what he can do as the true leader there. Again, a 3-star prospect, just like Eli Holstein was, but someone that could rise in those ranks, especially if he adds that weight. And actually, we see him eligible to sling the ball down the field because we know he has that type of arm. If he's able to do that, his wide receiver is one of my breakout candidates. So that's something to see. And for him to continue to go on there and move forward, great things to come there as well. So absolutely love that there for CJ Bailey. That's really only our 3 quarterbacks, right? So we had 1 5-star, 2 3-stars on there, but I feel like the 3 stars, it's all said and done. Those are 2 quarterbacks that we could be talking heavily about come draft time. All it takes is really one great season, a good combine performance, or a good pro day performance, and your draft stock to go up. And next thing you know, a rookie that you're like, was a second, third round prospect in rookie drafts is now a first round prospect in rookie drafts. And Cade Klubnik, I think we can feel is locked into the first round of rookie drafts when that time comes. Unless he drops, drastically. We've seen Shedeur Sanders, for example, drop, right? So unless that happens. But when it comes to Eli Holstein, CJ Bailey, they can definitely elevate into that first round prospect type of raise there. Tom Harvey, he was a guy that was high on Geo as well coming out. So this is a guy that's going to be something prospect that we didn't mention, but yeah, good guy to bring up there in Geo. Sorry, in Gio Lopez out of North Carolina, now under Bill Belichick, something great there as well. So another one to watch out for there. He didn't make our list there, Tommy, but I know he's one of your guys there. So definitely a great prospect to go out there and watch. But as we said, the ACC is we're getting to where we don't have as much hype to necessarily talk about. I say that lightly because they're still great players, but still all right, these guys are guys that you possibly get at a lower discount compared to your guys you get in SEC or Big Ten as well. But speaking of that, I say that as we get into these wide receivers, and these wide receivers are actually pretty darn good. So let's go ahead and start with our first one, the Clemson wide receiver here, TJ Moore. What are your thoughts on TJ Moore here?
Yeah, I mean, TJ Moore, he's your big boy from Clemson, 6'3", 200 pounds. He's a 2027 guy, 5-star recruit coming out. So we're back into that 5-star range.
Yep.
In 2024, you had 14 games played. He started 9 of them, kind of, again, as these freshmen do, came on a little bit later in the year. 63.4% reception rate, 650 yards total, 215 of those were yards after the catch. He had 5 touchdowns, a 12.6 ADOT. 36.8% of his catches were contested, and then 92.5% of his snaps were out wide. So a true outside receiver here in TJ Moore. Tell me your thoughts on this guy.
Yes, sir. Jamie, thanks for joining. Go have a good show, my guy. TJ Moore is an absolutely stud. Tommy's even saying silky smooth. He's an absolutely great wide receiver. This is something we saw as a true freshman coming out and doing some great things. I know people look at the stats like, hey, 650, that's not good. Considering that all the wide receivers ate at Clemson, that's actually pretty good, if I might say. 92.5 out wide. He's your X wide receiver. He's a guy that can go up there and get it. Now, I want to see him get a little bit more physical because his routes are a little bit more crisp and not as fluid as I would like. So I believe he's going to be more of your down the field stretcher kind of deal. And so with that, I want to see him get a little bit more physical against those contested catches, and that way he could be your true possession type of wide receiver to go out there and ball out. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, TJ Moore is a very good boundary guy. To me, as you said, he needs to add a little play strength because he plays a little soft. He actually reminds me a lot of a guy who came out this year in Jaden Higgins and his older brother, T. Higgins. So another Clemson wide receiver there, kind of your bigger, guy who doesn't necessarily play huge.
Right.
As Tommy pointed out, he's smooth. He runs a good route. He's very crisp. He gets downfield and beats guys. I mean, he's a very complete receiver, except that for 6'3", he plays more like 6 foot.
Right.
So
exactly.
If he could add and leverage his length a little bit better, I mean, this guy could be the wide receiver 1 going into 2020. Well, maybe not wide receiver 1, but top 5 in 2027. Yeah. But that's a stacked class. It's no.
You got to remember who was in that class.
I was like, wait a minute, Jeremiah Smith, Brian Williams. Okay. Yeah. Top 5 though.
Yeah.
Very easily.
For sure.
And, first round, top 20 pick. So.
Huge hands.
He's got huge hands. Like, that's the thing. He's got to leverage that a little bit better though, because he's getting his hands on the ball. You know who else had huge hands? Sky Moore.
Yeah.
Got to be able to come down with it, especially through contact. And
we talk about physicality. I mean, if we would talk about him playing smaller, you think of guys like Wan'Dale Robinson and Zay Flowers, because those guys were smaller in frame, but yet they played with that physicality going after. That's what drew me to them when watching their tape, was like, oh, slap, these guys are actually going up and getting the ball. Where there's certain situations with TJ Moore where it's like, I didn't feel you really fought for that. Like, I felt you went up to get it, but you didn't fight to bring it down, right? And I want to see that a lot more, especially if you're like thinking a pro prospect. There's going to be some physical defensive backs that you're playing against where the ball's in your hands, or you're getting the ball in, 2-minute drills and stuff. You have to be that guy that comes down with it. And again, that 36.8, there's still a little bit more of that physicality when it comes to it. But speaking of the Clemson wide receivers, he's a true freshman last year. This next guy's a veteran at Clemson. Clemson wide receiver Antonio Williams. Talk to me about him.
Yeah, Antonio Williams is, I mean, he's 5'11", 190. Let's start there. A little smaller. He's a 2026 guy coming out this year. He was a 4-star. Last year he played 14 games, 14 started. He was steady Eddie for them. 75% reception rate, so very high. 908 yards, I believe that led the team. 339 of those were after the catch. He had 11 touchdowns, a 10 ADOT, 57.9% contested catches, and 58% of his snaps were from the slot. So played all over the field, inside, outside.
Right.
Caught those balls. Tell me about Antonio Williams.
Yeah, I mean, you really hit on the mark with him leading the receiver room, and I think that says a lot because the 2 freshmen that were there, TJ Moore and one we'll talk about here in a bit, really came in and actually did some great work for him as well. Moving around that 58% out the slot, again, like you just said, it shows me he's a guy that is really a Swiss Army knife in a sense. You can really line him up everywhere. He is very twitchy, very quick in getting the things done for him. The man, Antonio Williams. There you go. Our guy, Dynasty Dogs. Again, don't forget to subscribe to Dynasty Dogs YouTube and watch the shows when they go live. My guy, Mike, Anthony, and Rich do a fantastic show over there as well. Antonio Williams has the capabilities of being one of the top wide receivers in this upcoming class. I say that as like the top 5. Really, when we're thinking about this next class, I said 2025 if I did, 2026. We're talking about the 2026 class. As we mentioned, this is the year for a quarterback. This past year, 2025, was a year for a running back. This next year, 2027, will be year of the wide receiver. This 2026 class, depending on who you're talking to, the top 3, top 5 are all in a slump. I know some people favor a guy in Jordan Tyson at Arizona State. Some people favor Evan Stewart out of Oregon. Some might say Kevin Concepcion, who's now at A&M. Depending on who you're talking to, it really is a jumbo set, and Antonio Williams is part of that jumbo set. He has the skill sets to be one of the top guys because of his versatility, because he's a go-getter. He goes after the ball, right? He's going to go make sure the ball's coming down with him if it's thrown his way. He could line up anywhere on the field. So for a NFL coach, they probably love that, saying, hey, you're not a true X. You're not a true slot. You're not even a true Y. You're a guy that's going to come in here and actually do what we need you to do when we need you to do it. And that's what we need. Just someone that can be very excited to move the change. We can move you anywhere we want, and the quarterback's going to become your best friend because they know, hey, you're always going out there. You're finding the open spots in the zone coverage. If you get the ball, you're twitchy enough to make the plays. Now, 339 yards after the catch, he's not really going crazy or anything, like not making a lot of defenders miss in that open space, but he's still getting it done. And sometimes you need those guys to just get it done. If you think about someone, kind of reminds you of like a Jacoby Myers in a sense, where you're not talking a lot about him, but then you look at the numbers and you're like, oh, snap, this guy actually was a wide receiver 2, in some cases a wide receiver 1, fantasy wise because he just got the job done. That's what Antonio Williams kind of reminds you of. Not play style, just that mindset of we might not be talking about him, but yeah, if you draft him, you're enjoying it because you're like, man, this guy is always on the field. He is a reliable pass catcher for our quarterbacks, and he's consistently getting yards or touchdowns. 11 touchdowns, fantastic. For a 5'11", 190 guy, we just talked about a 6-foot guy or a 6'3" guy that had less than him. Granted, he's the freshman, but yet still was like, damn, that's really good. So absolutely love him. Anything else on Antonio Williams there?
No, I have so much to say because I love Antonio Williams. I think first I'm going to start with like a guy because you mentioned that 2026 class. Mekhi Lemon is somebody that people are hyped over, who's that smaller guy right now. I think Antonio Williams is this smaller guy who's actually going to break the mold here.
Okay.
There's a play against Georgia last year where he went up probably like 40 yards downfield. Cade Klubnik said, I know my boy Antonio's got this. Chucked it up to him. He had double coverage. He high pointed the ball, came down on the boundary, got both feet in, and came down with it. I mean, and that's a 5'11", 190 guy. It reminded me of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Where he can move in and out. He's solid after the catch. He's physical, but he's also, he can go downfield. He can make that play. He can outrun guys, even though he's maybe not the most athletic. He can high point the guy, even though he's not the biggest guy. Right. He's just a dog.
Straight.
Like he's just a dog. So this is the type of guy who I absolutely love. He's coach's kid. He can move in and out all around. I mean, that's Antonio Williams is.
I'll just point this out. Dog approved. Dynasty Dogs. Dog approved here. Antonio Williams.
Dog's dog. No, so I mean, I really think that he's below Tyson for me. We'll get to next week, but he's not far off, and I think he's a really good player who's going to make a massive impact.
Yeah, and I think he had some injuries too, that hurt him. But again, I think he might benefit in the sense where there's star power around him because the eyes aren't on him, but yet he's really the star. Does that make sense? Like there might be brighter stars on paper around him, but when you look closer through a telescope, it's really Antonio Williams that's shining the brightest, and that's kind of the player he can type of be when it's all said and done there. Clemson wide receivers, I might argue that Clemson, I would say this, and people are like, hey, Clemson might have the best wide receiver core in the nation, and this is why we're gonna bring up this other guy here, wide receiver Clemson, Bryant Wesco. Tell us your thoughts on him, or tell us the stats on him there.
Sure, Bryant Wesco, another true freshman. He came in 6'2", 180, so a little thin, slim reaper type of levels. 2027 draft eligible. He was a 4-star coming out. In 2024, he had 12 games played, 11 of them started, so started most of them as a true freshman. 55.4% reception rate, not great. 707 yards, much better. 250 of those were after the catch, 5 touchdowns, a 13.6 ADOT, 43.8% contested catches, and 88% of his snaps were out wide. Talking about this third Clemson receiver, Bryant Wesco.
Yeah, so when we talk about the Clemson wide receivers, TJ Moore, Antonio Williams, Bryant Wesco, I absolutely love Wesco. People are actually asking us Wesco or TJ Moore. Do I take Antonio Williams? I'm all over Wesco. I think he's a fantastic X-wide receiver. We saw this as a true freshman. He's only going to get better. You do want to see a little bit more weight probably on him, but he still plays with some physicality to him. He's a lot more shiftier, I think, than TJ Moore, which I think is why I'm drawn to him. The yards after the catch don't show that as far as his elusiveness in the open field, but he's definitely more twitchier when it comes to his routes, in my opinion. His ADOT shows, he's getting down the field quick and very reliable for that quarterback as well. Contested catches, just like TJ Moore, probably need to work on that. Again, that goes to physicality, building a little more bulk to him. But I absolutely love what he's doing. I think he's going to be a great asset for any team that gets him. And when Cade Klubnik is gone, quarterbacks are still going to love him because he's going to be their true X, in my opinion, the real wide receiver one of that team. What are your thoughts on Wesco?
Yeah, I really like Wesco also. He plays with a lot of speed. That's the thing. If you're looking for who's going to run a 4.3 on this team, Bryant Wesco is going to run a 4.3. He gets downfield lightning quick. As you said, he's got good twitch to him, especially deep. He's great at the top of the stem, kind of those high post routes. He always seems to lose his man. I'd like to see him work a little closer to the line of scrimmage because he really was used a lot as a deep threat last year, which I think is why his yards after the catch aren't as high as they could be. So adding a little bit of weight, if he can get up to 190, 195, and not lose too much of a step of speed, I mean, he's going to be an elite weapon at the next level.
For sure.
I think that everything he did was respectable. He just needs a little step up. But as a true freshman to come in a blue chip program like Clemson and put up these kind of numbers, it's very good. Him and TJ Moore, the future's bright. I lean Wesco slightly just because, as you said, that twitch is nice. I think he's got the higher upside in that regard, but you can't go wrong. This is I think the most talented room in football for wide receivers right now.
Yeah, we talk about the core again. If they're riding 3 ride, you have Wesco, TJ Moore, Antonio Williams there. And truthfully, last year, Antonio Williams was the veteran, so they had to move him around different spots. This year, you have Moore and Wesco with a little bit more experience under their belt. So now you have opportunity for them to say, okay, you're the true X's outside, right? You're on the wide receiver one, you're the true X and Y's there on the outside. And now you have Antonio Williams solely focused on the slot. So we might become that slot merchant this year, but now you have actual 3 wide receivers in their specific roles just going out there and dominating. Wesco can actually do that. I think he's got a blowout season as far as like great season, a blowout breakout season, and he needs to go out there and dominate for them as well, and he's easily going to rise the stock. Now, if we're talking overall ranks for Wesco, I mean, he's definitely up there when you're talking about potentially top 5. Let's check my overall ranks for him. I know we just did a show too about it, but he's definitely a prospect to be your top 5, right? We have our locked in top 3 right now in Jeremiah Smith, Cade Klubnik, Ryan Williams, however you want to do that. And then we talk about Wesco possibly entered in there. We talk about Wingo, Morris, TJ Moore. All these guys could potentially enter into that conversation of a top 4, top 5 type of deal. Wesco definitely is in there for them. He's my 6, thinking about now, because you have Wingo, Nick Morris as well, finishing on my top 5. And now you have Wesco, TJ Moore, neck and neck there as well. They could easily slide into it. And to be honest, if they really needed to, they can slide into something even bigger. I mean, if they crazy things have happened where we see guys fall off after 1 year of greatness, so it's very possible that we could be talking to him as a top 3, so definitely in there. That's our Clemson wide receivers, though. We still have some wide receivers on the list here. Next, going to the U, baby, Miami, and that is wide receiver Josiah Trader. Tell us about Josiah Trader here.
Yeah, Josiah Trader is he's 6'1", 180. He's another 2027 guy, so you love this 2027 class.
Oh yeah,
he was a 4-star coming out in 2024. He played 7 games, only 1 started, an 85.7% reception rate on his opportunities, 91 yards, 47 of them were after the catch. He had 1 touchdown, a 7.6 ADOT. He didn't have a contested catch last year. Again, limited opportunities, but 97.8% of those opportunities, those snaps, came out wide.
Yep.
So Josiah Trader, tell me about the Miami guy.
Yeah, so he was someone that some people deemed him as one of the best route runners in the class. I know my guy Nino Brown and Andy Phillips said he was a great route runner. I didn't see that, but I saw the twitch. I saw him very effective with his footwork. I don't know if he was trained by Route God, but it looked like he was going through Route God type of drills because his twitch work was super phenomenal, what he was doing. His routes, to me, he needed a little bit more polish. The way he was making specific cuts, the way he was doing specific slants or post routes, needed a little bit more polish. I saw some areas of finesse there where it's like if you work that down to a little bit more crispness, you're actually going to be very solid, because once the ball's in his hands, this guy is one of the best in the class, in my opinion, with making defenders miss. So we're seeing it here with over 50% yards after the catch there. Get the ball in his hands, he's going to make some things happen. Now, being out wide, I don't know if that's going to be his true calling. I feel he could be better used in the slot, but they might need him as the X wide receiver or the wide wide receiver as well. But yeah, he's still going to be someone that I feel is a focal point to the offense. And now we think about, all right, now they have Carson Beck. Guess what? Carson Beck made Lad McConkey look great. And I think Josiah Trader is 10 times better than what Lad McConkey is as far as talent. But yet, Lad McConkey was a top prospect as far as, draft capital. If Carson Beck kind of finds that type of role or player, or they use that system for Josiah Trader, it's possible we could see a huge season for him as well, because I think he has potential to be one of their top threats there in Miami as well. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a wide open room coming into, so that's great. Restrepo's gone. Isaiah Horton's gone. Sam Brown, who was there last year, is gone. Elijah Arroyo's gone. I mean, that's the 4 top targets are off the team headed to the NFL. So it's a wide open room for him. I like that he was able to get onto the field also. He didn't have that first year, 0 next to his name.
Right.
That's always something you want to avoid with these guys. So,
Right.
He got on the field, he put up some numbers. As you said, he's good, he's twitchy. I imagine he was out wide because he was taking screens or, just running downfield and kind of as a decoy guy. So I agree. He probably naturally fits in the slot a little bit better. Restrepo's gone. He's going to slide right in there. He could be Carson Beck's best friend. It'll be interesting to see what he does.
Miami did bring in CJ Daniels out of he was at LSU last year. Didn't really do anything. CJ Daniels is a bigger prospect as far as size. I think he's 6'3", 6'4". So I think that'll benefit though, because he's someone where just based on size, you're like, okay, you're an automatic X. So again, that can move Josiah Trader, and he has great height in the form of being a slot. You're typically thinking you're 5'11", 6 foot, not you're 6'1", 6'2". You're thinking more outside. So with him coming in as a slot, he could definitely go out there and dominate. And speaking of your bigger wide receivers, though, our next wide receiver here is someone that actually fits that mold of the bigness. And we're talking about Florida State wide receiver Duce Robinson. Go ahead and tell us about him.
Yeah, so Duce Robinson, 6'6", 220. He's a 2026 guy. He's coming in. He was a 5-star. That was at tight end, though. So he wasn't a 5-star wide receiver. He was a 5-star tight end. He switched over. In 2024, he played 12 games. He had 5 started. Only a 50% reception rate, 396 yards total. 89 of those were after the catch. 5 touchdowns, a 16.3 ADOT. 33% of his 33.3% of his catches were contested catches that he made, and then 62.1% of his snaps were out wide. So Duce Robinson, tell me about the former 5-star tight end.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there. He possibly should move back into it. But yeah, if he's going to be wide receiver, I mean, we talked about the USC wide receivers, Mekhi Lemon and the Jacoby Lane last episode when we talked about the Big Ten. Go check that out. It's on our YouTube channel. Go watch it. It's a good episode. But we talked about how Duce Robinson and Zachariah Branch were both 5 stars, and then Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane were both 4 stars, and they beat them out. Duce Robinson is a good prospect. Is he a good wide receiver? He can be, but he needs to really use his size. When you look at 6'6", 220, you look at contested catches, 33.3%, you want to see more. That's something where it's like, bro, you're probably towering over some of these guys. You need to go out there and dominate. Like, he's not going to do it yards after a catch. He's not twitchy. He's not doing anything like that. But he can play with some physicality. We've seen it on tape that he can't play with it. He just hasn't shown it every opportunity he gets, and that consistency needs to be more out of him. I do love the fact that he's going into it because he has opportunity to be their wide receiver 1 in there. Granted, again, tight end, 5-star, but if he's going to go out there, you think about guys like a Keon Coleman that wasn't necessarily the best wide receiver in the class, but yet he went out there and used his size to a disadvantage, and he went out there and stretched the field and got the ball and brought it down. That's what Duce Robinson really needs to be, and just come out there and say, hey, look, I'll be just a field stretcher because I'm not doing all this juking. I'm not doing all this spinning. I'm just go out there, throw me the ball. I'm going to use my size to my advantage, and I'm going to be physical against these defensive back, against these safeties, and go out there and just bring it down. And that's what I want to see from him. But I do have high hopes for him this season, stepping into what should be a wide open wide receiver room and bringing a new quarterback out of Tommy Castagnoli out of Boston College as well. I think, they're missing a heavy wide receiver since losing Keon Coleman, and this is an opportunity for them to get one back. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still a believer in Duce Robinson. As you said, I kind of wish he would have stayed at tight end. I think that was his natural fit. But he's not a bad wide receiver. He's not the twitchiest. 6'6" guys, they just can't be. He takes one step, the corner's taking 4 on him, just because of the stride length. So he's got to win by being bigger and by leveraging his size, leveraging the routes that he can run. He's a pretty okay route runner for someone who's 6'6". Again, a little play strength, but I think the opportunity is why I'm really still buying. We'll know pretty quickly. I love Tommy Castellanos, former BC guy.
Yep.
I think he's a pretty good quarterback, actually. I don't think there's NFL chops there, but he's a great college quarterback.
Yep.
So he'll be able to get Duce the ball. And FSU has shown that they can use a big guy. Johnny Wilson a few years ago was even bigger.
Yep.
They were able to make him productive, and Duce is a lot better than Johnny Wilson.
Agreed.
He's a much better athlete, and he's, I think, a much more rounded wide receiver. So
Yep.
I'm banking on the fact that he can get some production up. He can get going. It might be another year. He might, 2026 eligible. He might be a 2027 guy, super senior type of thing. But,
Right.
I kind of like he's been a little productive. That ADOT needs to come down, work a little closer to the line, get more opportunities, and hopefully he flourishes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's when you look at just on paper, just see the tape and you see this skyline out, you're like, there's some good things to come. Again, we've seen glimpses of it. It just hasn't been that consistency, and that's what can really separate him from good to great, right? Just being consistent or average to good at that point as well. So, absolutely excited to see what he can do at Florida State. Sometimes the change of scenery is exactly what you need to go out there and flourish, right, and get your mojo back, if you will. So, Duce Robinson could definitely do that. We do have one more wide receiver here. This one I'm excited about. NC State wide receiver Noah Rogers. Go ahead and talk to us a little bit about Noah Rogers here.
Yeah, so Noah Rogers he's 6'2", even 200 pounds. He's coming in 4-star 2027 guy. 2024 he played 13 games. He had 9 started. 70.8% reception rate. It was only 474 yards. 167 of those were after the catch. He had 1 touchdown, a 12 ADOT, 61.5% contested catches, which is great. And then 90% of his snaps were out wide. Tell me about the Ohio State transfer.
Yeah, no, I mean, you said right there, right? He was good enough to get accepted to wide receiver U, right? He was there. And it wasn't that he was bad on why you transferred out. He just knows it's a crowded wide receiver room where, hey, if I really want to showcase it, I might need a transfer out to go ahead and show it, right? Because he was in the class with your Carnell Tate, if I'm not mistaken, and even with Brandon Ennis, right? And Brandon Ennis is still there, So I say 2027 because he did redshirt that year. Now he has another year of eligibility, so now he's eligible in 2027. He's a physical wide receiver, and him and Carnell Tate were kind of neck and neck in the type of player they can be. He can go out there and dominate. And we brought it up earlier where Kevin Concepcion was there, is now gone, now at A&M. This is the year for Noah Rogers to have that breakout and really become that X, that wide receiver, that top wide receiver for his quarterback in CJ Bailey. The 70.8 reception rate, I love that. 61.5 contested catches, shows that physicality there. Obviously, we want to see a little bit more yards, but the passing game as a whole for NC State wasn't there as we were used to. And again, he had competition in Kevin Concepcion. He doesn't have that anymore. So this is his opportunity to go out there and shine and say, hey, look, I wasn't wide receiver U, but guess what? I'm still part of wide receiver U. I just took my talents to NC State instead. What are your thoughts on Noah Rogers?
Yeah, I really like Noah Rogers also. I think that he's going to take a step forward this year along with CJ Bailey. I think they're going to grow together in a very nice way. As you said, he's a physical guy. He's got a little twitch to him too. He understands route nuance. He gets open pretty well. It's just that passing offense the training wheels were on all of last year. I think they're going to take him off this year.
Yeah.
So, you hope to see a step forward, but I think if he can get to 800 yards and 5 touchdowns, that's a huge success.
Right.
That means, he's taken a good step forward and then he can keep growing. He's as talented as they come. He was a 4-star fringe on 5, going to wide receiver U. And I don't think the talent ever went anywhere. He knew he needed opportunity. He got a bag from NC State also.
Yeah.
So, it was the NIL really drew him out, I think, as well. So,
yeah,
it's good. I'm hoping the kid can take that step forward.
And that's the world we live in where a lot of people say, oh, they transfer out, they weren't good enough. But then you look at it, it's like, well, this school offered them X amount of money, so why wouldn't he take that as a prospect that instead of getting buried on a team or showing slight opportunity of, doing good with it, but not showing enough? Why do that when he could get paid on the college team and then also go to another program to get the opportunity and do more? So smart move by him. This is the world we live in. We're going to see a lot of athletes do it. It's like, oh, you transfer to a lesser program that's not as elite, but at the same time, it's like, but you got paid. So, I mean, go take care of your family, do what you got to do, and still ball out and play, and then go to NFL. Because I think Noah Rogers is an NFL prospect. I think we'll be talking about him come draft time when it comes. Now, with that 2027 class, that's very tough. That's a heavy class, but he's definitely going to be, so we talk about, that's going to be a deep class. As I'm saying, you're the wide receiver there for him. Those were our wide receivers, though. As we mentioned, we talked about 3 Clemson wide receivers, a Miami wide receiver, Florida State, and an NC State. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're tuning in. We appreciate all of y'all joining in. Comment, like, subscribe. We love engaging with y'all as well. But before we wrap it out and give you our consensus overall rankings for the ACC top players, we're going to talk about some running backs here. And first one is our guy, the Miami running back, Mark Fletcher Jr., 6'2", 225, 2026 eligible, the 4-star composite rank on 247, 2024 stats, 13 games played, 4 games started, 5.4 yards per carry, 607 yards, 345 yards after contact, 9 touchdowns, 18 missed tackles forced, 3 fumbles. Talk to me a little bit about Mark Fletcher.
Yeah, he's your classic beefy boy. I mean, 6'2", 225, and he's stronger than even that.
Yeah.
He really powers through. You see it in the yards after contact, but when you watch him play, he's aggressive.
Right.
I mean, it almost looks like if you remember, like Jay Ajayi when he was on that mean stretch where he had like 2 200-yard games back to back, and he was just a bowling ball. That's how Mark Fletcher runs every time, and it's cost him a few games, as you see. He's had a couple of injuries. Almost wish he would maybe not drop the shoulder every time he sees a 340-pound defensive lineman in his way.
For sure.
But he plows those guys over.
Yeah.
So, it's working for him. He's knows for the end zone. He's got a little bit of burst. If he can stay healthy, he can keep powering through. He's got, kind of a second, third round running back written all over him.
Yeah.
At worst case, I think he's still a 4th, 5th round guy just because of how good he is with the ball in his hands, powering through strength. What about you? I know you're a huge Mark Fletcher guy.
Yeah, I always followed him when he was a true freshman guy of American heritage. I actually love the way he played. I said he's a Derrick Henry light. I said that contest because of his size. The way he moves, he does get his shoulders down. So he's a vertical runner. We're going to talk about a guy later that's a very vertical runner, means staying upright, not getting his shoulders down as much. Mark Fletcher is someone that is going to get his shoulders down and try to just tackle over you. Now, if anyone's watching and seeing these stats, like, why are you talking about this guy? They had Damian Martinez there last year, and with 5.4 yards per carry on opportunities, that's still really good considering he wasn't their lead back. It was Damian Martinez. And yes, I know Damian Martinez was also a 7th round draft pick. I'm not taking that into consideration because he balled out at the college stage. And I think Mark Fletcher is definitely going to be that thunder at this next level as well for Miami. Just the bruiser, the touchdowns will go up, the yards will go up because he's going to get the rock and really move the chains for him. Now, when you hear thunder, though, it's probably because you heard some lightning there as well. So now we're going to talk about Miami's other running back in Jordan Lyle, who's going to be their lightning. 6 foot, 190, 2027 draft eligible, 247 composite rate, 4-star prospect, 2024, 11 games played, 0 started, 7.4 yards per carry, 400 yards, 235 yards after contact, 4 touchdowns, 14 missed tackles forced, and then 0 fumbles. Talk to me about Jordan Lyle.
Yeah, I mean, he's electric with the ball in his hands. He's a little smaller, but once he gets going, he's hard to stop. Again, this Miami backfield last year was, you had Damian Martinez, who was carrying the rock a ton. You had Mark Fletcher, who was kind of your goal line bowling ball type of guy. And Jordan Lyle was the guy, he's coming in, he's 3rd string. He's not getting a lot of opportunities, but then you give him the rock and he just exploded.
Right.
A lot of those yards after contact. It looks real good. He's not dropping his shoulder, though. He's not like Mark Fletcher, who's picking up 4 yards every single time he's touching the ball. What he's doing is guy's getting one arm on him, and he's just flying right through it. It's slippery like an eel.
Right.
So I like Jordan Lyle a lot. I think, I want to see it a little bit more this year. But, I mean, talk to me about him. Tell me what you like. Backfield.
For sure. I mean, as I mentioned, with the Thunder comes the lightning, and he is the lightning. Like we see it, 7.4 yards per carry. I didn't expect him to start any games. He may not necessarily start the games this year. I mean, probably with Mark Fletcher just giving some readers, but it's in the sense where he's someone that's going to come in and alleviate that or give that resting opportunity for Mark Fletcher, give him the opportunity to go in there, make some big plays, and he's going to be the one that really stretches the field there and shows out in those type of games as well. Sorry, throat got a little dry there. But no, he's so very nice. He is open, gets guys missing open space, 14 missed tackles, a limited amount of work. Then he could go on there, no fumbles. Excuse me, hold on. Sorry, throat getting caught up there.
Yeah, all good.
But he's going to go out there and do the work that's needed. In certain backfields, Miami knows how to use the running backs. He knows how to say, okay, we have our bowling ball, we have Mark Fletcher, but then we're going to wear the defense down with Mark Fletcher because he's the more physical. He's a go right after the front seven, make sure they're working to bring him down. And then guess what? In comes Jordan Lyle, and he's going to break out the 30-yard run and get the touchdown. That's how we'll see it. This is going to be a phenomenal backfield to watch. Absolutely love Jordan Lyle out at Miami. He's going to do some great things. One of my top running backs in the 2027 class when it comes to it is Jordan Lyle because of his electricity as well. So absolutely love what we're seeing there from him. But our next one, we're talking about true freshmen. We have to talk about this guy here in Louisville, running back Isaac Brown. A little bit smaller, 5'9", 190, 2027 draft eligible, 3-star prospect out of 247 composite rate. 2024 stats at 13 games played, 9 games started, 7.2 yards per carry, so still really good. 1,168 yards, 662 yards after contact, 11 touchdowns, 37 missed tackles forced, and 2 fumbles. Talk to me about Isaac Brown here.
I really like Isaac Brown. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. He's a true freshman. This was kind of a 3-headed freshman group. They're like, which one's going to emerge? And he took the bull by the horns. A little smaller than you'd like, but he doesn't play like it. You watch him run, he runs angry, and he's got good feet. He's got good vision. As a true freshman, you're not kind of expecting this type of production from a school like Louisville that does well. Now, I will own it. I've been fooled by Louisville's running back system before. I think they do a good job making the running backs look really good there. So, it's possible that this is a little bit of a mirage, but those types of numbers, 7.2 yards per carry, 662 yards after contact, 37 missed tackles forced. You can't fake those numbers.
Right.
He did some stuff. He's a dog. It's kind of with that build, you're sort of hoping for like a Devin Singletary type of player, and I think he could absolutely be that. What about you? How do you feel about Isaac Brown?
Just so unreliable when you bring up Devin Singletary, right? Just someone that's like, hey, you're our guy. Go out there and do what you got to do just to move the chains there. When you see these, you do expect the 7.2 yards per carry to come down. I don't expect him to get that, especially if he's the true lead back coming into this season as well. And they're not really playing the 3-headed monster there. But they're probably going to play, some committee type of approach. He's still going to get the yards. I mean, we see that because of the yards after the contact. The way he moves, you say he's a little bit more physical, plays a little bit more angry. Yeah, but he's also moving to make these guys miss in the open space as well and to continue to move those chains. That's what you love seeing those running backs because it's obviously what do you do in the front seven, and he gets through the front seven. He's someone that could get low to the ground, but also maneuver his way around the certain blocks or around certain defenders to get to that next step. And now you're worried about the safeties, right, or the defensive backs back there trying to cover. How do you do that in open space? And he's making them miss as well to get those yards even further. So he's someone that is kind of all around. If you're talking about size, I mean, really, you think about the 5'9", that's not bad. I mean, that's bad. Really, no, yeah. If you go out there and showcase it, the NFL teams will still love you for that either way, right? Now, for us, it's like that's like your prototypical type of guy, right? It's just like you think about prototypical wide receiver, you're thinking maybe 6'1", 6'2", 200, or like 6'3", 6'4", 220, whatever it is. You look at the 5'11", 5'10" guys, you're a little bit more off of them. But again, the talent speaks. And he saw that talent spoke, and it came out and showed as a true freshman, like, okay, you're a dog out there. You're going to go out there and ball. And Duke Watson is there. Keon Brown is also there. They have guys there, but Louisville's possibly going to still focus. I mean, they brought in Miller Moss, right? So they're still going to focus on the run. He's still going to be an important part of the offense, and they're still going to make things happen. And it's because of a running back like Isaac Brown that can win at the line of scrimmage, but also win in the secondary as well. He has that second gear to just boost on and boost that speed in there as well. So that's why I do like him also, and I think he could be a great back. Devy Asset, I would take the shot on him, even though the size is a little bit scary. But again, that's something where if he continues to go on the trajectory and has multiple 3,000 or 1,000-yard seasons, people are going to love that. That's going to just shoot him up even more. So love that there.
If he can weigh in, but, again, he was a true freshman. If he can come in and weigh in 205 by the time the NFL draft comes around, 5'9" is perfect. He's a little bowling ball.
Yep.
He just a little more weight. But again, I mean, this was an 18-year-old kid. He's going to add some weight.
Yeah, for sure. Go out there and eat some Taco Bell. That's what I did in college, so it's good. Maybe not because he's a football player. I'll eat something else. But no, I agree. Yeah, we're gonna see that, and as long as that weight doesn't conflict with his speed, it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
If he has that weight to be a little bit more aggressive, still keeps his agileness, then you're gonna love that there as well. But speaking about the weight of the bigger running backs, this one's a true freshman coming in, and this is Florida State running back Ousmane Kromah, 6 foot 225. 2028 draft eligible, 4-star recruit on 247 composite rate, 2025 true freshman. He welcomes contact. As I said, he's a bigger guy. He's gonna go out there and just make sure, hey, come at me. I want you to try to tackle me. Vertical runner. As we talked about Mark Fletcher being a bigger back, he's not someone that's necessarily getting his shoulders down and running through. He's gonna run just straight at you and just intimidate you with his size and be like, get out the way, or I'm just gonna plow through you. 3 down back. He has that capability of being that. He's a quick cut to shift. Really, the type of guy that's a one cut kind of guy that goes type of dude. But he's also a dual threat. He can catch the ball at the backfield there. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he's my clear cut kind of RB1 in this 2028 class.
Yeah.
It's not the strongest running back class, but to me,
Yeah.
he's a strong player.
Yep.
I think he's gonna hit the field right away year one and get some reps. The size, you love to see it, and he plays with it. I mean, it's always hard to tell. Like I think, what was it? Derrick Henry had like 5,000 rushing yards in high school.
Yeah.
It's sometimes in high school these bigger guys can just go. But I think it's going to translate pretty well to the college game.
Yep.
As you said, dual threat back. He's got pretty solid hands, as we showed in high school. He didn't run a lot of routes, but he's able to catch the ball, which is what you want to see. College will teach him how to go run that angle. But that's not necessarily going to be his game. I think his game is going to be between the tackles, get into the second level, kind of 5 to 15-yard chunk plays, and he'll do that all day.
Oh yeah, and he played out of Lee County in Georgia, so he's still a good type of back. He still plays the competition. But yeah, you mentioned a lot of times these big backs make it look easy at the high school level, that they go to a college level, and it's like, all right, there's actual bigger players that you're playing now. It's not just 5'10", 5'8" type of linebackers, right? So there's definitely a difference there. But again, the physicality is there. As a freshman, I expect him to go in there and take the reins and just to be like, look, this is my backfield. I'm here to be aggressive. I'm here to win games, and really I'm here to tackle through everyone. I say tackle. I'm here to get through everyone that tries to tackle me, in a sense. So I absolutely love his game. I'm excited to see what he can do. Yeah, but as the RB1, not mad at that, because I do, you can argue Harlem Berry, you can argue Keelan Deere don't really get that opportunity out the gate, where Ousmane Kromah, I think he really can go out there and get that opportunity and be one of their top backs that we're talking about this upcoming season for Florida State, especially with a team that kind of feels like they're in the rebuilding phase. They might use him. Now, I know they have Cam Davis there. They have Roydale Williams there. Ousmane could definitely challenge them, because both those guys didn't really showcase a lot last season. So with them bringing in a guy as third overall back on 247, it's possible that he goes in there and says, hey, it's my backfield now. You had your opportunity. You failed. I'm going to come here and make it happen for me as well. But those were our 4 running backs there. We talked about 2 Miami ones. We talked about a Louisville one, 2 freshmen last year, brought in the freshman this year, Kromah from Florida State. That's all we have for as far as our guys there. But now let's go ahead and give you our top 10 overall rankings. I'll go ahead and say mine, and then Spencer, I'll let you say yours for the ACC. We're going to start off here with mine. Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik, the number 1. Pittsburgh quarterback Eli Holstein, number 2. As I mentioned, I'm super high on Eli Holstein. I think probably the highest of what everyone's seen. I absolutely love the kid. I think he's going to do some great things. Every quarterback, though, needs a good wide receiver. Klubnik has that, and Bryant Wesco at number 3, and also at number 4, TJ Moore. Absolutely love that. And then we're going to talk about Mark Fletcher at number 5. Absolutely love his game. Think he can do some great things. Health is the issue, though. He needs to stay healthy to make sure he's on the field and actually is consistent there as well. High on NC State, Noah Rogers. Think this is a breakout season for him. Miami, Josiah Trader. Hopefully he steps into really that slot type of role, that type of lab and cocky for Carson Beck, because he could do some great things as well. Florida State running back Ousmane Kromah, I think will do some great things. Miami running back Jordan Lyle, and then Florida State wide receiver Duce Robinson ends out my top 10. Talk to us about yours.
Yeah, so number 1, Clemson wide receiver Antonio Williams. As I said, I'm very high on him. I think he's going to be a dude next year. Then number 2, Cade Klubnik, not too far behind. And then another Clemson guy, Bryant Wesco, at
Yep.
number 4. Disrupting the Clemson run is Pitt, Eli Holstein. Again, like you, I'm real high on him. I think he's really going to be something at the next level, and you got to attack those quarterbacks.
Yep.
Number 5, Clemson again, TJ Moore. And finally, we have some variety in number 6, Florida State, Duce Robinson. I really hope he steps up this year. I love kind of the raw talent. Would like to see him move back into tight end to add a little bit of weight, but I think he could break it as a wide receiver too. Number 7, NC State, CJ Bailey, really high on the kid. Want to see another step forward. I think he's got truly could be a day one quarterback in 2027. Number 8, Mark Fletcher, as you mentioned, stay healthy, man.
Yep.
Number 9, Florida State, again, we got Ousmane Kromah. He's my RB1 of this freshman class. He breaks in here. And number 10, Louisville, Isaac Brown.
Love it.
Like a good list. ACC's got some talent, man.
Yeah. Now I was looking at it. See, do we have anyone? Is it Bryant Wesco's the only one that we have the exact rank?
Yeah, I think Bryant Wesco. Yeah.
So I think every one we do so far, when we did the SEC and the Big Ten, we have at least one guy in the exact same spot, and then it's just chaos everywhere else. We're completely different. But no, I absolutely love it. I mean, I think this goes to testament. Antonio Williams, you are right. I mean, with a jumbled wide receiver class of next year, Antonio Williams could rise to the occasion and be one of their top guys. So love that you have him there at number 1 overall. Klubnik, high on him. I think he could win the Heisman. So I think 1, 2 overall in the ACC is phenomenal. And he's not my top quarterback for next year, but this time next year I could be saying, hey, he possibly is, just because he came out here and balled and showed me a lot more. Right, as we're going through these and watching the tape on these guys, our rankings is just because they're learning, right? And Klubnik's one where he was lower and he climbed back up. Like, he was high as a freshman and then he dropped, and now he's climbing back up because he's showing capability of learning the game, slowing it down, and getting better year over year. And that happens with all these guys. They drop, they go down, they go up. That's what happens on the Devy Planet. You never know what you necessarily get, but that's why it's important to not just watch one season, to continue to watch these guys as they progress and see what they're doing, not even within multiple seasons, but game over game, seeing if, all right, you made some mistakes this past game, how are you bouncing back to it? Are you going to do better? And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, and they continue to slide. Sometimes they end up rising, but a lot more to come. That was our top 10 ranks for the ACC. We are doing the Big 12. As we mentioned, we're going to do conference by conference. The Big 12 is coming up next week. That's going to be something exciting, because that one's really a tough class conference to really bring out top 10 that we're excited for as far as Devy assets, but we'll get there. So next week, tune in to the Devy Planet here on the FFU Universe. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, get engaged with my guy Spencer at Buckwild Sports, engage with myself at the PPR. So follow us on X at the FF Universe as well. Subscribe so you're part of the channels when we talk about the Devy Planet. Only Devy prospects on the Devy Planet, but we have Dynasty Dogs. We have Adjust the Ranks. We have shows on FFU for you. If you're missing anything, let us know, because we'd be happy to do a show with you, or even just talk about guys that you're missing as well. But until next time, I'm SC. That's Spencer for all the guys at the FFU. We hope you'll have a great day and a fantastic Memorial weekend. Later.